There's a storm out in the ocean, and it's moving this away. If your soul's not anchored in Yeshua, you will surely drift away, drift away, drift away. You will surely drift away. If your soul's not anchored in Yeshua, you will surely drift away. You know, that was one of my favorite songs when I heard it first come out. I think it was a guy out of South Carolina named Bishop Ronald E. Brown. He had been married to Vicki Winans, I think, before she married one of the Winans brothers. But that was a song that he put out that he had on album, and he was just kind of going over some of the songs that our people had been singing when they had came out of slavery, and some of those little churches that were really more like communities where they was, you know, being with like-minded people that were trying to overcome a situation that they had came out of slavery. And you might ask, why am I singing this song? Well, I'm singing this song because it's actually a storm out over the ocean, and it's moving toward Tanzania. That's right. It's a cyclone headed toward Dar es Salaam. I was listening to Renee X. Excuse me for the wind. I was listening to Renee X, and she was talking about it, and then excuse me, the wind just started picking up as I started talking about this. But I looked at the news report this morning, and it was talking about the cyclone, and that this is a once in a century deal for Tanzania, because it's on the equator, and it's hard for massive storms to make it that way. But on the heels of President Magufuli passing away, and also the unrest that's going on in Mozambique, here comes a cyclone that, if it comes ashore off of the Indian Ocean and it goes toward Dar es Salaam, which I think is the largest city in Tanzania, and one of the largest on East African coast, it is going to it could cause major damage. And we know if it causes major damage, that'll be the pretense for the West to come in with aid. And if they come in with aid, we know what they're gonna do. So let's pray for Dar es Salaam, that storm stays over the ocean, that it doesn't come their way, but that if it does, that their souls will be anchored, those that are believers there. Souls will be anchored in Yeshua, in Jesus, and that they won't drift away, that they won't let, if that storm comes and causes damage, that it won't cause that country to fall apart. Because you can see something like that happen if it causes extensive damage, where they'll have to borrow money from the West. We know that they would have stipulations if they borrow money for aid to rebuild or whatever, and it would just wreck that country. It really would, just on the heels of them trying to overcome the death of their president, and trying to make sure that the administration that took over after him doesn't change anything, that this could definitely be a game changer. But not only for that nation, but also for your own life. You might not have a cyclone or hurricane that is coming your way, but you do have storms in your life. just like the song says, there's a storm out over the ocean and it's coming your way. It hasn't got there yet. But that if your soul is anchored in Yeshua, when it does come, you won't get blown away. You won't drift away. I can think about in the book of Acts when Paul was on his way to Rome to appeal his case to Caesar for the lies that the Yahudim had said against him about bringing people into the temple, and how the angel had told Paul that no matter what, the people on the ship were not going to lose their life, but that they might suffer loss, but not the loss of their life. And that when the ship broke apart, the Most High was true to his word. None of them lost their life, only they lost their stuff. They came in on land on the pieces of the ship. And so Tanzania could sustain some damage. But for those that are believers there, those that are believers in Yeshua, I would just say, if you see this video, hold on to Yeshua, hold on to Jesus. Because if not, your country surely will drift back into chaos. You gotta hold on to Yeshua. You can't. And maybe this is what Yeshua, Father wanted, because maybe people were putting too much of a godlike status on Magufuli. Not that he was trying, because he seemed to be a low-key person to me. He's, and I know he was a believer, but that their trust and hope in the times that we're living in must be anchored in Yeshua. Same with us here in America. When the guilty verdict was read for Derek Chauvin, people start crying, start having parties and everything, and putting their hope and their trust in BLM. And I'm not trying to discourage people that are part of BLM or that want to get out there and protest. If that's what you feel you need to do it. The Most High Yah can use everything. But I'm saying for myself, my hope is not anchored in that, because no sooner than that happened that day, look what ended up happening with that young lady that got shot by the police. Look at that. So make sure that your hope is anchored in Yeshua, because when the storms of life come, you might think you have a victory, but that storm comes and wreck everything that you built your hope and trust in, and then you drift away. I've been there in life where I thought I had everything together. I had my eyes set on doing this and doing that in the ministry, and then something came along and just wrecked all of that. And my anchor was not as strong in Yeshua as I thought. And I got blew off course. My family got blew off course. My wife we both got blew off course for a while in our life, because our anchor was not solidified in Yeshua, was solidified in things. And I think about what Yeshua told Peter. He said, when Peter said that he was not going to be crucified, and then Yeshua rebuked him. And then he told Peter, he said, Satan desired to sift you as wheat, but when you are converted, I want you to strengthen your brother. And then after the resurrection, when he was talking to Peter, he asked him 3 times did he love him, and he kind of irritated Peter. And you know, in him asking, he said, do you really love me, Peter? Do you really love me? Are you really are you really solidified in me? If you are, I want you to shepherd my lamb. I want you to feed my lambs and shepherd my sheep. I want you to persevere. I want you to persevere through all this. And that's what we have to do as believers. When the storms come, we got to stand strong. Whether they pass us or they cause damage. As long as our souls come out okay, that's what's important. So again, if you see this video, I want you to give it a thumbs up. I want you to like. I want you to give a comment. I want you to pray for Tanzania. I want you to pray for all the East African coast, because they do need the monsoons. They need the monsoon rain, but they don't need a cyclone with these damaging winds that will bring death and destruction, just as they trying to get themselves. But if they do, let's pray for those that are in Yeshua, that they'll hold on, that they'll stand fast. And I'll just say, be blessed.